So I want to talk about something that I've never really publicly opened up about, and over the last 4 to 5 years, it's actually my relationship with nicotine, right? This, by the way, before I dive in, it's not cigarettes, it's not vapes. I've never touched that sort of stuff. Not something I probably even will, at least touch wood. However, it's more in the pouches, the mints, the lozenges, the whole lot, right? And honestly, for a long time, I didn't think it was a problem. It helped me, and genuinely, I think it actually helped me a lot more than I thought, which I'm not going to come at this video from an angle of how it's all negative, but I wanted to kind of share my real, non-biased opinion and experience with it too over the last 4 to 5 years, because I want to kind of give you the full picture. And I want to give you the full picture with this, because if you want to use it, by all means go to town with it, but even at least you have the real version from experience of someone that's been using it probably almost too much sometimes for the last 4 to 5 years, right? So how it all started for me, it was actually recommended by a business mentor, and there's more framed from the science, the productivity, the angle of how it helps you focus, which I think was around COVID years. And hats off to the man, he's helped me in so many ways, and the science is actually real. Like, what it generally does is triggers dopamine, which is basically the reward center of your brain, which helps you want to do more of the things you're currently doing. So I usually used to take it during work, usually when I wanted to do like long hours, like all-nighters sometimes, just get a lot of things done, working on projects, working on business, developing certain things I want to develop, and sometimes even studying too. For me, it was actually the reason I took it was for the productivity edge. There was a lot of benefits, a lot of negatives that came with it, which I'll dive into as well. But like, the result for me was sharper focus. I was a lot more alert. I can stay switched on for the entire day. It was amazing, and it still has that effect today as well, because I don't use it in too many big dosages. And funnily enough, I used to kind of brag about it, because I'd be like, hey, I'd never get tired. I'd consistently focus the entire day and I'd get a lot of things done. So for me, I love it personally, and I still use it, by the way. But like, there's also a lot of other benefits. So for me, it suppressed my appetite, which helped me get leaner, much easier. Like, dieting was an absolute breeze. It was a walk in the park. And for a lot of people, they struggle with dieting because of, again, dopamine, right? They almost, like, when you have chocolate, when you have junk foods, it triggers dopamine for a little bit. And then you obviously crash afterwards, and some people obviously fry the dopamine a bit too much. But it actually helped me a lot from a fitness perspective to help with blood flow. Obviously, there's some health benefits from nicotine, especially when you microdose it. The appetite as well. Every diet I did, I never struggled. I never struggled with cravings at all. It was more like a mental block for me when it came to dieting, as opposed to more tactical, hunger, etc. Because, you pop a mint, appetite's gone. It was great. And to be honest, if you want to use it for that reason, by all means, go to town with it. A lot of people do use it. Bodybuilders, they vape all day, like they like chimneys nowadays, and that's generally the main reason. It helps them with dieting, and if it curbs that little edge and it gives you the benefits, by all means. But I'm not here to recommend you to use it. I'm going to give my full experience here with it. Generally, what nicotine does to the brain, it creates a dopamine loop. And the dopamine is basically your body's reward center and the reward signal. And so when you say you do a big task, you get it done, you feel like a big high. That's dopamine. You have chocolate, you feel like you've done something, and you give your body instant hit of sugars. That's dopamine. You get a project done, dopamine. You work hard towards something, is dopamine. So like, your brain generally starts to trigger as more of a reward center, so it makes you want to do more of those things, and it can be skewed for a lot of people too, especially when it comes to health and fitness too. But for me, obviously, I didn't use it in the way of cigarettes, vaping, etc. I used it in more the mints, the chewing gum, the pouches, which, by the way, they're probably the most easy to overuse, by the way, because you can take them. Like, I generally go in periods where I'd go out and have it in my backpack, have it in my pocket, and I'd be chewing them. After a meal, you have a bit of a kick of dopamine, which makes you want to stop eating. And generally, it was this thing where it actually kind of gave you a little bit of a convenience, easy access towards it, compared to other things where if you're smoking, you have to go outdoors, go to smoking areas, do it in certain places. But this was a little bit different for me, and because it became so accessible was when I started to overuse it. What I then started to find as well, the more I used it, the more I'd want. Your body becomes a lot more unresponsive, right? So like, it started off with that 1 milligram, 2 milligrams a day, now we're up to 5 to 10. And now if I have 10, like, do I feel it? Yes, still feel it, but it doesn't give you the same effects as it did at the start when you're taking it as well. You have to kind of increase your dose to get more out of it. And funnily enough, I know a lot of people that take up to 50, 100, 200 milligrams. And funnily enough, some of them are athletes, by the way, which kind of surprises me. But when you have too much of it, your body gets very accustomed to the same dose. So you actually end up having to need more of it to feel the same level, and it's not necessarily a boost anymore. You're trying to get to the same baseline, which, by the way, for a lot of people, your tolerance will build very fast. Like, what starts at 4 milligrams ends up being 20, ends up being 30. And, by the time you know it, you're pretty much higher and higher. And you're kind of going for other, more stronger effects as well. There can be some days where I go to 50 milligrams a day. And, like, compare that to a cigarette, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it feels like a lot because it's a direct hit of nicotine right away. Like, the delivery is cleaner compared to a cigarette, and even though I don't want to compare, you know, two evils, it still wasn't quote unquote as bad as you normally think, even though it wasn't always positive in the whole sense to it. But the good news for me, I found, like, is much easier to quit, right? I can take one day off if I feel a bit of withdrawal symptoms, 2 days off, and you're back to baseline. Like, you barely crave it, I'd say. You still want it, it's nice to have, but you almost don't have the same reliance as you would normally would as like if you would have a cigarette where it take a little bit of time to come off because of the addicting properties as well. But that's my experience. Some people may be different, I totally get it. But it just depends on your personality and how much you've used, how you reliant you've become on it as well. I think, like, I've had periods where I've had to take a bit of a dopamine reset to, like, which wasn't fun, by the way, like cold showers, eliminate sugar, eliminate dopamine, which the first few days kills you, by the way. And you kind of get back to a baseline. So it depends on how, I wouldn't say mentally strong you are, how you kind of combat these things as well, and how your experience has been over time, other things as well. But, like, I just want to be straight with you. I'm not someone who got addicted in the traditional sense. I never feel like I couldn't stop. If I wanted to stop, I would stop. I just enjoyed it. I enjoyed the benefits. I still take it day to day, far less, by the way. I'm paired with other things as well, such as alpha GPC, caffeine, modafinil, which, by the way, if you compare it, I think nicotine just gives you the best ride, in my experience. The caffeine is great, but I find most times when I have too much of it, I crash, which, by the way, with nicotine you have the same. But, like, nicotine kind of, you know, hits your brain, gives you a short-term release of dopamine. Caffeine, I find it kind of continues for the rest of the day too, up until the next day because of the half-life. So my experience for me hasn't been addictive whatsoever. I've never really touched other things like snus, and which, you know, a lot of people do, footballers, celebrities, actors, athletes, everyday people. Like, you just see it, and it's probably the most common nowadays compared to the style I've been using, generally speaking. And for me, the positives, the bonuses, focus and appetite. I can just work all day and get so much done, which if you want to push hard in life, you know, you probably want anything you can do to get that. That's always safe. So for me, it was big. The big bonus was that directly. Anytime I dieted, it helped me get leaner and leaner without any appetite effects. And I never really felt hungry at all. Like, there was a negative, of course, where you'd obviously have to take more and more as you get deeper into a deficit. And obviously from a cardiovascular standpoint, it didn't really affect you positively either. I wouldn't say it was negative, but I wouldn't say it helps you either. You do feel it, generally speaking, especially if the night before you take a lot. You wake up in the morning, you feel fatigued, and the benefits aren't there. But overall, for me, the positives, I think, were super worth it. And that itself has been an amazing experience for me overall. But now, the real negatives, the mornings. Like, for me, especially when it came to a place where I almost overused and used a lot of it, every morning I was fatigued to the max. I generally could not focus, and if I woke up an hour later, I'd be knackered. Like, I remember on holidays, we went to a work trip from Miami, and we were doing filming every morning. An hour in, I had to go back home. I was like, I can't actually function here for some reason. I'd take caffeine, which will get me wired and tired, then nicotine, and it wasn't fun. So, like, the mornings for me were a killer, especially when you take too much the day before. You feel it. You're fatigued, you don't feel healthy, you don't feel fit, and it wasn't a good experience whatsoever. It actually kind of held me back in a lot of ways as well. Even on social events or like a nights out, not nights out in the drinking sense, I don't drink, by the way, but like in the sense where you go out for meals, like you just kind of, you haven't got access to it there and then. I'd almost, funnily enough, on the way back home, go to a pharmacy, get another pouch, get the packet of mint. But then I'd still have that focus in the back of my mind where if I just had that extra hit of dopamine, I feel a lot more present. So it did remove me in terms of presence a lot, to be fair. I wasn't as there as I wanted to be and involved because I just wanted that extra hit of the dopamine and obviously the nicotine too with it. It's not a craving that you can bend to your will. It's just, if you've experienced it, you'll know exactly what I mean, but you're consistently in the back of your mind quite a lot. And you're thinking about it all the time. So like the focus and how much I needed it, it was very high. And it was like almost to a stance now where it just hindered the experience the whole night. Sometimes it's taking my pocket and I finish the whole pack and I'm like panicking, and it'll just kind of be a little bit of a stress as well. And the stress wasn't worth it directly. And it just didn't make me feel fully present. Like even my honeymoon, wedding day, like it just, I was present, but I know I could have got a lot more if it was a lot more involved and as I wasn't thinking about nicotine and the mints as well by it. Now, I'm not going to tell you to use it. I'm not going to tell you not to use it. That's not my place, and honestly, there's probably a lot more better sources for that. But I'm going to give you the information that I believe is going to be helpful for you. Like, if you are going to use it, start low and keep it as low as possible. Like 1 to 4 milligrams should be fine, in my opinion. I think the higher you go, there is a bit of increase in effects and obviously increase in benefits, but initially when you take it, you will be quite tolerant to it, and you may feel spaced out, a little bit wired, and you will feel the benefits, but you'll be very, very tolerant to it. And As you take more and more, that's where it kind of comes with a lot more negatives. So if you can start low, keep it low, you can use it to a good advantage without all the negatives. I'd also recommend as well, if you are going to use it, have periods of breaks intentionally. So I used to kind of take a break post-diet, which was hard, by the way, because obviously you would use dopamine from the nicotine, and now it became from food, so I end up sometimes getting a little bit of weight quicker than I wanted to. But I find the actual stopping it was actually much easier than I thought, compared to smoking and other things as well. You can have nicotine as well with other addictive substances too. Generally as well, I also recommend as well, if you can switch up your dosage, so you go from like chewing gums to the mints. You may use snus if you want, so that's completely your choice. But I'd almost make sure as well in those scenarios, if you are going to all like kind of stick to it, if you find that your dose is increasing, and you're not getting the full effects from it, I'd personally, what I would do in that scenario, I'd actually kind of swap the source as well. Because I find that if I swap from the mints to the chewing gum, I'd feel the effects again at a low dose, then back again, and I kind of just alternate between the two. So if you are going to use it, again, not advice, but I'd make sure you kind of like switch around a few things, and just to make sure obviously you're not over consuming that, because that's when the negative starts to kick in. But overall, kind of like just to make sure you guys fully understand the full takeaway, nicotine isn't a monster. There's a lot of benefits from blood flow, from focus, and the nootropic effect. I personally love it. Like, the focus is real, the productivity is real, the benefits are real. You do feel it. It's got a small half-life where it generally wouldn't influence your sleep unless you take it too close to bed. And I think it's obviously compared to smoking. If you're like a off smoking, take a nicotine, by all means go for it. But like, just use it a lot better than I did, where I almost increased the dosage way too much. And obviously start to get very reliant on it, and it starts to affect my quality of life quite a lot too. But like with anything, it's slow, it's subtle, it comes with benefits, comes with negatives, and I might not have given the enough magnitude to the negatives, but they are substantial as well, and over time obviously you'll feel them too. Like, your mornings do get harder, you stop feeling present, you have less energy as well over time the more you use it. Obviously if you take enough but not too much, you have all the benefits predominantly so, but that's a matter of choice as well if you want to take it or not. Like, you will notice it without a doubt. Like, I'm still someone that uses it sporadically. I say sporadically, day to day, pretty much every single day at a low dose now. I've kind of like built my tolerance, built my habit around it, and there's a lot more positive here. I don't feel the effects as much as I would. Obviously there's some days where you get carried away, but again, it's been still really useful for me as well. But what really changed for me and what really helped me, which I think will help a lot of you guys listen to this till the end, is how I used it as opposed to what I used. So like the mechanism, the habits, the understanding behind it, that's gonna be the most important thing. Because for me as well, like, it came to a place where I lost my drive because I'd take quick, sharper hits of dopamines rather than want to work and finish a task. So for me, it kind of came to a place where it wasn't as helpful for me, because I did lose my drive a little bit. And I was like, hey, well, I've lost my drive, what's happening? And I found it's like, there's a correlation between the amount of nicotine I was consuming, the dopamine I was getting from that, compared to the dopamine you'd get from a full task done on a project you've completed as well. So that's my experience. That's just what it is. It's not advice. If you do want to use it, consult a medical professional. Take your advice in terms of the dosage and the recommendations, and overall my experience as you please. But generally speaking, to close it off, if it's armed with the right information, it can be helpful. Armed with the wrong information can be quite harmful too, and can be used in the wrong context and overused as well quite a lot. And it's something you want to be quite careful with too. So hope you find it useful. See you in the next one.